All right, if everyone can find their seats. Just a reminder, the seats in the front part of the auditorium at the tables are for town meeting members, other elected officials, and Finance Committee over here to my right. And the seats in the rear of the auditorium are for any guests or visitors or citizens. At this time, if everyone would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you'd remain standing for just a moment, and we'll have a moment of silence for all of our men and women protecting our freedoms around the world. Thank you. Please be seated. All right, our tellers for this evening are Ms. Whitcomb from Precinct 4 and Mr. Rossetti from Precinct 2. The tellers will please come forward and be sworn to their duties.
Yeah. Do you swear to faithfully and impartially perform your duties as a teller for the town of Saugus town meeting to the best of your abilities? I do. Congratulations.
All right, at this time, if the town meeting members would please raise your right hand and the tellers will take a count. All right, that's 47 plus the moderator. We have a quorum. All right, please put all cell phones and other electronic devices in silent mode. Members are reminded that the use of electronic devices during meetings is restricted to viewing documents or websites pertinent to the articles before us, and texting, gaming, or other uses are prohibited. And at this time, the town clerk will call the roll.
Arsenal. Yes. Bartolo. Yes. Bell. Yes. Berube is not here. She has contacted us, and she's very sorry she cannot attend tonight. Bonito. Yes. Camuso. Yes. Chaporis. Yes. Connors. Costello. Yes. Cross. Yes. Davis. Yes. Delios. Yes. DeMonte. Yes. DiFilippo. Yes. Doherty. Yes. Dunn. Yes. Fossey. Ferrari. Yeah. Gill. Yeah. Goodwin. Yeah. Grabowski. Yeah. Herman Durant. Yeah. Hickman. Yeah. Kelly. Yeah. Lincoln. Yeah. Lepresti. Yeah. Malone. Yeah. Manugian. Yeah. Marchese. Yeah. McCarthy. Yeah. McCullough. Yeah. Meredith. Yeah. Marcella. Sorry if I... Yeah, thank you. I couldn't get it out. I apologize.
Here.
Nichols. Nuzzo. Ostro Mason. Palumba. Panetta. Panico. Paolini. Prolente. Parziali. Rossetti. Shenna. Scozzarella. Shalkowski. Taligan. Wallace. Yeah. Whitcomb. Yeah. Worthley. Yeah. 48 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. All right, the first order of business is accepting the minutes of the previous session. And again, while we do have a copy available, if anyone would like to review them, since a copy is posted on the town website shortly after each meeting for all to review, and knowing you've all been diligent about reviewing them online, if there's no objection, the minutes of the last session will be accepted by unanimous consent. Okay, hearing none, the minutes are accepted as posted. When recognized to speak, all speakers are asked to step up to the podium. Town meeting members, please state your name and precinct represented. Other town officers or employees, state your name and position in the town. And Saugus citizens, just state your name and address. This way everyone at home can see and identify with who they're hearing. We will be observing the appropriate time limits for speakers per Section 208 of the town bylaws. We have 14 articles remaining on the annual warrant for this year. We're awaiting recommendations on Article 2, the budget, and Articles 17 to 20, which is the water and sewer and PEG access. We'll likely be addressing those articles at our meeting on June 1st. We do have recommendations from the Planning Board on Articles 40, 45, and 46. Just a quick note on those recommendations. If you remember, when the warrant was first issued, there were 2 Article 34s, and the town clerk immediately sent out an updated warrant with the correct article numbers. When the planning board reviewed the appropriate articles, they were using that updated warrant. However, when the planning board clerk posted their recommendations, she inadvertently reverted to the original incorrect warrant. So while the planning board recommendation you were mailed, you got in the mail may reflect their opinions on Articles 39, 44, and 45, the planning board assures me that they actually represent their opinions on Articles 40, 45, and 46, which are the correct numbers. In short, they decided that Article 40, while related to zoning, didn't actually address any proposed zoning changes, so it did not require their recommendation, and they voted in favor of passage on Articles 45 and 46. We also have Articles 37 to 39 and 41 to 44, so we got plenty to keep us busy for tonight. Our next order of business tonight is Article 1, to hear and act on reports of committees. We don't have a report from the Finance Committee this evening because we have no financial articles before us. Are there any other committees that would like to report out at this time? All right, seeing none. At this time, I would entertain a motion to take Articles 37 to 46 out of order. So moved. We have a second. All in favor of taking Articles 37 to 46 out of order, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. As a courtesy to the maker, Ms. Arsenault moves Article 37 for consideration, to see if the Saugus Town Meeting will vote to establish a Town Meeting Charter Review Committee. The committee will review the existing Saugus Town Charter and recommend any updates or amendments if needed. The Town Meeting Charter Review Committee will produce a report with any updates or recommendations to be considered at the 2027 Annual Town Meeting. The Town Meeting Charter Review Committee will include the following members: 10 town meeting members, 1 member from each of the 10 precincts, appointed by the 5 town meeting members representing their individual precinct, 1 school committee member appointed by the school committee, and 2 selectmen, Anthony Cogliano and Michael Serino. All appointments shall be made within 2 weeks of adjournment of town meeting. In the event of a vacancy, the town moderator shall fill the vacancy with a town meeting member. Committee members to include a maximum of 13 and minimum of 7. All meetings will be public and posted on the town's website 48 hours prior to all meetings, as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 30A. That was submitted by Anthony Cogliano and Michael Serino. We do have first an opinion by the town council on Article 37 is an article to establish a charter review committee to review the existing town charter and recommend updates or amendments. This article, if passed, does not give this committee any legally binding authority for any charter change or amendment. The statutory legal process for the review and revision of a town charter is under Mass General Laws, Chapter 43B. This statutory process requires a petition from a percentage of registered voters and a submission of the question to the voters of revising the charter and an election of a charter commission. I also have an amendment that was submitted by Mr. Manugian for Article 37 to insert after the phrase "will produce a report" to add the phrase "inclusive of a minority report, if any." Do I have a second on the amendment to Article 37? All right, so we have the amendment to Article 37 is moved and seconded. And again, this would add, let me just find it in here, to produce, hold on. All right, where it says up in the first paragraph, the Town Meeting Charter Review Committee will produce a report, we would insert the phrase "inclusive of a minority report, if any," with any updates or recommendations to be considered at the 2027 Annual Town Meeting. Do we have any discussion on the amendment to Article 37? Mr. Manugian.
Moderator, Peter Manoogian, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 10. I informed the author of the, one of the authors of the, this article that I was putting this amendment forward, and he didn't have a problem with it. He reminded me that when they did this before, I believe in 2012, that they also included what differences there may have been in the recommendations at that time. Chapter 43 of the Mass General Laws of the Charter Commission does allow for a minority report to be published by any dissenting voices on the committee. I don't know that there will be one on this, but I just thought for transparency purposes, if anyone disagrees with the majority recommendation or whatever, that there should be an opportunity for the town meeting member and the public, town meeting members and the public at large to be aware of it. So it's consistent with Chapter 43. It's what's happened in the past, but it sort of memorializes it so that we'll all hear what those reasons might be when this comes back to us next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manoogian. Any further discussion on the amendment to Article 37? One second. Yeah, Mr. Serino. Matt, I'll go right to you.
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, when I was on the Charter Committee in 2009, I did come up and I'd state the vote of the committee, whether it was 7-2 or whatever, but I have no problem of submitting the reasons why also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Mr. Palante.
Mr. Moderator, Town Manager, Town Meeting. Mr. Moderator, I apologize. I didn't realize I can put an amendment in or ask for an amendment prior to Town Meeting for someone else's article. Just, I thought it was for my own, so I apologize for coming up here and moving to amend the article. So I'm not sure if it's appropriate to make the mention of the amendment now, but I'm moving to amend the article by changing the method of selection for the Charter Review Committee members so that members are selected by random lottery from interested town meeting members within each precinct, rather than precinct vote. The reason for this amendment is simple.
Hold on, Mr.
Yep.
Serino. What you'd have to do, the process is submit the amendment in writing. I believe the clerk has a form you
No,
can
he
use.
did that to me, but he wanted to read it first,
Yep.
and then out there. So I told him to go do that, so
Okay.
that people know what the amendment was,
Yep.
and then bring it back to me.
And then put it in writing so we can read it in.
Yeah, again, I apologize.
That's okay.
So, the reason for this amendment is simple. A Charter Review Committee should be as independent, balanced, and unbiased as possible. The town charter affects every resident and every part of town government. Because of that, the review process should not be driven by internal politics, alliances, or campaigning within precincts. A lottery system creates a more neutral and transparent process. It gives all interested town meeting members the equal opportunity to participate and helps ensure the committee is viewed as fair and credible by the public. This amendment does not change the purpose of the committee. It only changes the method of selection in a way that promotes fairness, independence, and public trust in the process. The charter is essentially the town's constitution. If we truly want an honest review process, the committee should not begin with political elections inside town meeting. A random selection process removes unnecessary politics from the very beginning and strengthens public confidence in whatever recommendations ultimately come forward. And just to be transparent, I spoke to both of the makers, and neither one of them expressed any concern with my amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palante. Okay, that was, and thank you for that, but that was a summary of an upcoming amendment that's being submitted. Right now, we're dealing with the amendment, adding the inclusive of a minority report, if any. So if anyone has any further discussion on that amendment at this time? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of amending Article 37 to include the phrase, "after will produce a report," to add the wording, "inclusive of a minority report, if any." All in favor of that inclusion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that amendment has passed. And now, if you'll give me a minute, I think we do have another amendment, which was just read. Thank you. Okay. This is an amendment submitted by Mr. Palante. I move to amend the article by changing the method of selection for the Charter Review Committee members so that the members are selected by random lottery from interested town meeting members within each precinct, rather than by precinct vote. The reason for this amendment is simple. A Charter Review Committee should be as independent balanced as he just explained. So the amendment, the proposed amendment to Article 37 is to change the method of selection for the Charter Review Committee members so that members are selected by random lottery from interested town meeting members. And that would replace the article in here that says 1 member from each of 10 precincts appointed by the 5 town meeting members representing their individual precincts. Do I have a second on this amendment? All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment to Article 37? Mr. Cogliano.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members. Anthony Cogliano, 310 Lincoln Ave, Saugus. As a mayor, I think Mike and I have the best intentions for the town. We certainly have different political views. I don't think you can find 2 people with different outlooks, but 2 people. Mike and I have been friends for 50 years. We certainly want the best for this town. I have no problem with either amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Cogliano. Any further discussion on the amendment to Article 37? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of amending Article 37 to strike out 1 member from each of the 10 precincts appointed by the 5 town meeting members representing their individual precinct, and replace that with selected by random lottery from interested town meeting members within each precinct? All in favor of that change to Article 37 signify by saying aye. All opposed? Okay, the amendment has passed. With that, do we have any discussion on Article 37 as amended? Mr. Serino.
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, I know in 2023 we had a charter commission ballot, and it failed, but only by about 200 votes. Anthony was for a charter commission. I was for keeping town form of government, and let's look at our charter, which we did in 2009. I felt we were Anthony and I, Selectman Cogliano and I, were on the opposite sides of the issue, where the vote was close, and we were both elected to the charter committee at the time. I asked him if he wanted to get together and do a charter review committee like we did in former town moderator Bob Long, appointed in 2009. I was a member of that committee. Just speaking on the, just a little history, in 1926 there was an amendment to the Constitution which created special act charters. Saugus ended up adopting that in 1947, and that established an elected representative town meeting form of government. Before that, they never had that. For 40 years later, the 1966 amendment to the Constitution created the Home Rule Charter, and that came under Chapter 43B, which formed a charter commission. However, it didn't cancel out any existing special act charters. They are still grandfathered. There's about 50 communities that operate under the special act charter today. However, any change the town meeting makes, anything related to the composition, the structure, the mode of election or appointment, or the terms of office for the legislative body, which would be town meeting, city council, or the mayor or selectmen, it does require a charter committee process. However, the intention is not to do that. We just want to look at the charter we have and make some changes within our town charter. I'd just like to give you a few examples of what we did in 2009 with the town meeting charter review committee. This is some of the changes we made. The selectmen, the chief policy makers, the leasing of town property needed a Board of Selectmen approval now before the manager was able to go out and it has nothing to do with this manager. This is back in 2009. The manager had the authority to go lease town properties, and there was a controversy about cell phone towers on ball fields. So that's why we passed that. So now any lease into town property needs approval of the board, and the Board of Selectmen has to approve it before they even go out to lease the property. The school budget submission, myself and former Chairman Wendy Reed, she was the chairman of the school committee, we got together and we made that process. We submitted the school budget process. We said they had to get it to the town by February 1st, because before that, the school budget sometimes wouldn't be submitted till after the selectmen, the manager looked at it, not till the FinCom process, which is probably around, I would say, April or May. They never got their budget submitted, so we said submit the budget by February 1st. It'll give everybody a chance to look at the school committee budget. Also, former Chairman Wendy Reed and I looked at the school committee vacancy right now in the town charter. If a selectman resigns, anybody who received 1,500 votes in the selectman's race with the sixth place person would move up. The school committee, we made that to 1,000 votes because the school committee never gets really as many votes as the selectmen do. And then we required a 5-year capital improvement plan, which we do today. And then we also put, you can run for one major town office. Some people run for selectmen, school committee, housing authority, and that's what we did. And then staggered elections, that went to the ballot in 2013. However, the voters voted against that. They voted against it 53% and for it with 47%. So that's what that did. And just to go by the procedure we did in 2009, we have when this committee meets, we'll come back next year with warrant articles. And it'll say to petition the state legislature, because if town meeting approves it, it has to go to the state legislature. Their attorney, their general counsel will look at it to see if it conflicts with any constitutional law. If that survives, then it goes to the House and the Senate, and it needs a 2/3 vote, then it needs to be signed by the governor. So that's the process, and that's what we hope to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Any further discussion on Article 37 as amended? Okay, seeing none, we'll call for the question. We've had a request for a roll call vote on Article 37. All in favor of Article 37, to see if Saugus Town Meeting will vote to establish a Town Meeting Charter Review Committee. The committee will exist if Saugus Town will review the existing Saugus Town Charter and recommend any updates or amendments if needed. The Town Meeting Charter Review Committee will produce a report, including any minority reports if available, with updates or recommendations to be considered at the 2027 annual town meeting. The Town Meeting Charter Review Committee will include the following members: 10 town meeting members to be selected. I got to back up here, hold on. Through random lottery from interested parties, town meeting members who are interested. One school committee member appointed by the school committee and 2 selectmen, Anthony Cogliano and Michael Serino. All appointments shall be made within 2 weeks of adjournment of town meeting. In the event of a vacancy, the town moderator shall fill the vacancy with a town meeting member. Committee members to include a maximum of 13, a minimum of 7, and all meetings to be public and posted on the town's website 48 hours prior to all meetings as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 30A. All in favor of Article 37 as amended, signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry, we had a roll call vote. The clerk will call the roll, and if you're in favor of Article 37 as amended, just say yes. If not, say no.
Arsenal. Yes. Bartolo. Yes. Bell. Yes. Berube is absent. Bonito. Yes. Camuso. Yes. Chaporis. Yes. Connors is not here. Costello. No. Cross. Yes. Davis. Yes. Delios. Yes. DeMonte. Yes. DiFilippo. Yes. Doherty, Dunn. Fossey. Ferrari. Gill. Goodwin. Grabowski. Herman Durant. Hickman. Kelly. Lincoln. Lepresti. Malone. Manugian. Marchese. McCarthy. McCullough. Meredith. Moschella. Nichols. Nuzzo. Ostro Mason. Palumba. Panetta. Panico. Paolini. Paulente. Parziale. Rossetti. Shenna. Scazzarella. Shalkowski. Taligan. Wallace. Whitcomb. Worthley. 41 yeas, 6 nays, 2 absent.
So Article 37 has passed. All right. Mr. Wallace moves Article 38 for consideration, to see if the town will vote as follows. And let me preempt this by saying there are a couple of typos in this. There was a line that was repeated in the middle of it. That wasn't in the original article. It was a copy and paste error, so I'll be skipping over that. If you're following along with me, you'll see what I mean. To see if the town will vote as follows. We, the members of the Saugus Annual Town Meeting, the elected body that is closest representative body to the citizens of Saugus, hereby adopt the following resolution. Whereas we, the members of the Saugus Annual Town Meeting, respectfully request that the Town Manager's Office, in coordination with the appropriate town departments and vendors, consider options to provide more opportunities for the disposal of litter, including but not limited to recyclable bottles, cans, paper goods, compostable food products, trash, and other items of a similar nature in areas of high foot traffic as well as heavy residential areas. Whereas the town of Saugus has invested significant monies in recent years for state-of-the-art parks, playgrounds, and community projects such as the Northern Strand Rail Trail and our beautiful new pickleball courts and street hockey rink at Anna Parker, the increased use of these amenities has brought much enjoyment to residents and families from both in and out of town and fostered a new sense of community in our town, but a natural side effect is an increase in litter. Whereas the town should consider the positive impact in deploying more trash and recycling receptacles in these high-traffic areas. In addition, some of this litter comes from blown-over barrels as a result of heavy winds. This is particularly noticeable in areas of Precinct 5 near Lynn Woods, where trash can be seen hanging in trees and floating in the nearby stream. Whereas it additionally encourages that we, the members of the Saugus Annual Town Meeting, are invited to collaborate with one another to consider actions we might take together to alleviate these issues for our constituents. It is therefore resolved that the representatives of town meeting hereby assembled respectfully convey our request to the town manager's office and offer to assist as a body and as representatives to the individual town precincts should that be so desired. Submitted by Ron Wallace, town meeting member from Precinct 5. Do I have a second on Article 38? All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion on Article 38? Yes, Mr. Wallace.
Ron Wallace, Precinct 5. Mr. Moderator, Mr. Manager, town meeting members. This is an article that I've wanted to write for several years now, and I actually had help from a very nice man from Precinct 4 who happens to be here tonight. This article is to address all the litter around town. It's really bad, and a large amount of it comes from the recycling system that we have. People use those little bins. I have neighbors that put things out in cardboard. Gets windy, blows all over the place. On May 2nd, Precinct 5 had a cleanup day, and I had several selectmen with me and a bunch of town meeting members and residents, and literally from the Lyndhurst School to the bottom of Elm Street, we filled 6 contractor bags. And probably half of that trash is from people's stuff blowing around. And literally 3-4 days after we did that cleanup, it was windy out, and what did I see walking my dog? Recycling all over the neighborhood again. So I would like to hear what the manager thinks about it. I did speak to the recycling director, and he had some good ideas. I don't know if like Home Depot or Lowe's could have like a grant program, maybe like we get a discount on, I use those big heavy blue bins with the lid on them. Not everyone uses those. It's just the stuff's blowing everywhere. And I don't know if there could be like grant money or something to help buy bins like that. But I'm just trying to make everyone aware of all the trash around town, and hopefully support this article. This is non-binding. I don't know if I already said that, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. Any further discussion on Article 38? Yes, Ms. Herman Durant.
Good evening, Stacy Herman Durant, Precinct 1. I think there are two issues here. One is what Ron has put forward, which is adding some trash bins throughout town to help with trash in highly populated places like parks. And the second would be the town recycling and the lidded trash cans. Perhaps the town manager can give us an update on the trash contract and the availability of automatic pickup or lidded trash cans. Because there is obviously a cost with this, with the bins, emptying them. You know, it seems like all the public bins in town can be overflowing, which creates, you know, if they're not emptied on a regular basis, it creates that problem as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Durant. Yes, Mr. Grabowski.
Mr. Moderator, fellow town meeting members, Arthur Grabowski, Precinct 8. I do support this article, but let's realize one thing. The trash that's getting blown around in this community does not make itself come out of the ground. It's the residents of this town that make this trash happen. And we need to make sure that the residents stop putting the stuff out there. And if their stuff blows around, they should go pick it up. I know we've had trash containers, Saugus Center, Cliftondale, and what happens is people dump their own municipal in-house trash bags into these containers. They're overflowing through no fault of the town, and it creates a problem in Saugus Center and Cliftondale, which is pretty obvious to everybody that drives through. But I didn't see anything in there about having any type of community awareness about the trash. But the trash is generated by the people in the community, the residents. It's not just popping up out of the ground and saying, oh, here we are, we got trash going on here. People in this community have to take more pride in their community, in their precinct, their streets, their recycling. I myself also see it when people put out cardboard boxes, that there's no way of securing them. And unfortunately, I think the new trash people that are picking up our trash do a good job, but sometimes I know on my street, on Denver Street, the recycling truck comes down much later in the afternoon, so it's kind of sitting out there for many more hours. It's not picked up at exactly 7 o'clock in the morning. But I do support this, but people in this community have got to start taking more pride in their community and stop dumping their trash. If you put barrels out on the rail trail, you put barrels out in Saugus Center, people got to stop dumping their household trash, white bags, into these trash containers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grabowski. Any further discussion on Article 38? Yes, Mr. Costello.
Martin Costello, Precinct 10. I only have a question with regard to this article, and on the basis of what is written here, I am in support of it. but my question is for the town manager. Somewhere along the way, I think I recall that we're eventually in the town of Saugus going to get new receptacles with lids on them, and the trash receptacles are going to be able to be picked up hydraulically by the the trucks. I'm just curious to know if that's eventually going to happen here, because those barrels are much larger than what most people put out, especially those galvanized barrels that they put out, which are useless. And I just want to know if that process is in the works, is it going to happen? And that's my question for the town manager.
Thank you, Mr. Costello. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. So I think the article that's presented, it's a great idea. But, you know, I think there's obviously a balance where residents should be able to put their recycling in something that's covered. So it's really an enforcement issue, I think, in some ways. I look at the enforcement rather than it's a good idea. Hopefully, this will help get the message. As far as the recycling and getting the toters, I'm certainly open to it. Waiting for some committee or somebody to help spearhead that. As everybody knows, if it's my idea or somebody's, it may not go over so well. So I'm happy to entertain anybody that be willing to move forward with that. I think whenever you make changes, even when they're positive, they're very stressful for residents, become stressful for politicians, and that's the challenge. So I think it's a great idea and would love to have people have support that so that we could move forward and execute it, because whatever we execute is always causes stress and anxiety for people, even if it's a great idea. I think sometimes that takes time. We built a new school, very stressful, very challenging. We had people that wouldn't support it or against it. I think it's one of the best things we've done in the town. The rail trail, same thing, that was very stressful. We brought the rail trail to life. A lot of bumps in the road. You have to have a village to do this. So I think these are big changes that change the way people operate and put their recycling and trash out. I think we got support for an article to be able to implement it. It's a matter of coming up with a way to do that and have the support from town meeting and other town officials so that the residents can understand that educationally where we're moving. So certainly open to it, and that's why I had put that article in the past and put an article in there even for the borrowing to pay for it, because that's always the other issue. People don't want to, have to have a cost to them. So hopefully that helps you with an update.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any further discussion on Article 38? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of Article 38, it's a non-binding resolution as presented, please signify by saying aye. Wait a minute. Roll call vote? All right, we have a request for a roll call vote on Article 38. Madam Clerk? So if all in favor, when the clerk calls your name, signify by saying yes or aye. All opposed, no or nay.
Arsenal. Bartolo. Bell. Ruby is absent. Bonito. Camuso. Chaporis. Connors is not here. Costello. Cross. Davis. Delios. DeMonte. DiFilippo. Doherty. Dunn. Fossey. Ferrari. Gill. Goodwin. Grabowski. Herman Durant. Hickman. Kelly. Lincoln. Lepresti. Malone. Manugian. Marchese. McCarthy. McCullough. Meredith. Marcella. Nichols. Nuzzo. Ostro Mason. Palumba. Panetta. Panico. Paolini. Parlente. Parziale. Rosetti. Shanna. Scazzarella. Shalkowski. Taligan. Taligan. Wallace. Whitcomb. Worthley. Unanimous, 47.
Article 38 is passed. All right. Mr. Manugian moves Article 39 for consideration. To see if the Saugus Town Meeting will vote to petition the legislature to amend Chapter 17 of the Acts of 1947, also known as the Saugus Town Charter, as follows. By striking out the first sentence in Article 2, Section 8 of Chapter 17 of the Acts of 1947, also known as the Saugus Town Charter, which currently reads as, "The selectmen elected as provided herein shall appoint by a 4/5 vote of the membership and subject to the provisions of this chapter as soon as practicable for a term of years, a town manager who shall be a person especially fitted by education, training, and experience to perform the duties of the office," and replace it with, "The selectmen elected as provided herein shall appoint by a 4/5 vote of the membership and subject to the provisions of this chapter as soon as practicable for a term of years, a town manager who shall be a person especially fitted by education, training, and experience," and replacing it with, "A person who has a master's degree in public administration, business administration, management, and/or law, and a minimum of 3 years' employment as a public administrator to perform the duties of the office." Submitted by Peter Manugian, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 10. Do I have a second on Article 39? All right, moved and seconded. So it's on the floor for discussion. I do have an amendment which was submitted by the maker. This amendment would strike out from the article I just read, strike out the line, "A person who has a master's degree in public administration, business administration, management, and/or law, and a minimum of 3 years' employment as a public administrator," and replace it with a town manager who shall be professionally qualified, a professionally qualified person of proven ability who has had substantial involvement with municipal government and is appropriately fitted by education, training, and by previous full-time paid experience in a reasonable administrative position. Do I have a second on the amendment to Article 39? All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Mr. Manugian.
Peter Manugian, Precinct 10. Mr. Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to taking up that amendment and seconding it and getting it on the floor. I've had some experience, as my colleague, Selectman Serino, has talked about. There's been situations in the past that sort of inform you of what might be a worthy road to go down. In 1991, when I served on the Board of Selectmen, we had to hire a town manager. And at the time, we advertised, and we did want someone with advanced education and so forth. And I remember there was one young man that had just finished his Master's in Public Administration that I was excited about, but the rest of the board wasn't. He went on to have a successful career, and I think he's since retired. But what happened was the board chose to, they wanted someone with experience. They wanted someone with municipal government experience, and that's how we got Ed Collins. We re-advertised, and Ed was the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Revenue, and he came to Saugus, and he did good things for the town. This town hall is a testament to him, and library, police station, and senior center, and public works, and so forth. So the board was right then in wanting to find someone with experience. When I was on the school committee about 10 years ago, I chaired the committee to hire, to the screening committee, a search committee for the superintendent. And we had a number of meetings at each school and in the library. And my colleague from Precinct 6, I remember, attended the meeting, and she was insistent that we have someone with 5 years' experience, I remember that, and also with a PhD. And we stuck to that on the school committee, and we did find Dr. DeRusi, who had that level of experience, and he also had that PhD as well. And he proved to be successful getting us through the building of the new high school. This article, I have had some feedback from some of you and members of the board and so forth that you didn't want to be straitjacketed with a restriction on education and so forth. But what really matters to me, mattered and has in the past from my experiences, is that someone with experience. To try to have someone with experience. The charter has been updated a number of times relative to the hiring process of the manager. It's gone from 3/5 vote to a 4/5 vote to 4/5 vote to fire, to three votes to extend. There's been a number of changes, at least 3 or 4, that have had to do with the hiring and the termination, but nothing about the qualifications. So what I thought was appropriate to find was to find a community that had language, and recently updated language, and I found Lexington, and I got that out to you over the weekend, yesterday in fact, and you have other copies tonight. And Lexington, as early as 2020, updated their charter. They're a $500 million budget in Lexington, and I thought that language hit the mark. And that language is very clear, that looking for someone that has a previous full-time paid experience in a responsible administrative position. So the Brent Wilkes study that I emailed you, that you have copies of, I hope you had a chance to look at it, that gives you a lens into the history of the tenure and termination of Saugus town managers, when Saugus was known as the land of 1,000 town managers by I believe, the Boston Globe. And if you took the time to read that, you would find that the ones that came from more of a political persuasion or political background weren't as successful as the ones that had experience. And I point to Ed Collins and perhaps our current town manager, who I believe has been very successful with our finances and so forth. So it's simple. It adds the requirement of experience, and it does give the flexibility on interpreting what is a appropriate amount of education and training. So I hope you support the amendment. I hope you support the change. And by the way, any of these changes, charter changes, can take up to 2 years to get through the legislature, depending on how long the Attorney General takes to approve and so forth. So the last one we did was you have to be off the any board that you're on for 2 years. You have to have a cooling off period before you can apply for a position within the school department if you're on the school committee, or in the municipal side of government if you're a member of the Board of Selectmen. So that took up to 2 years to get through the legislature. So I hope you support this, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manoogian. Any further discussion on, yes, the amendment to Article 39?
Good evening, Mr. Moderator, fellow town meeting members, Jenna Nuzzo, Precinct 10. As many of you know, Article 37, which we already supported tonight, creates a charter review committee specifically for the purpose of reviewing our charter in a comprehensive and thoughtful way. The committee is intended to look at the charter as a whole, identify outdated language, evaluate whether changes are necessary, and make recommendations after proper review and discussion. Because of that, I believe moving forward with changes to charter language tonight feels premature and somewhat redundant. We just agreed that a dedicated committee should be responsible for reviewing those types of issues. Allowing that process to happen first ensures consistency, avoids piecemeal amendments, and gives residents confidence that any proposed charter change are being evaluated in the broader context of the entire document rather than one section at a time. The committee cannot make any of these changes, but they can bring forth all of their recommendations for a high-level overview, and they can bring forth all changes at once for a high-level overview to be considered of the entire charter, not just a piece. I also think it's important that any changes to qualifications or requirements for a town manager be made carefully and with substantial input. These are not small administrative edits. They directly impact one of the most important leadership positions in our town government. A charter committee would have the ability to compare our language with surrounding communities, gather feedback, examine best practices, and determine whether revisions are actually necessary, and if so, what language would best serve the town long-term. In addition, making amendments outside of a full charter review process can create unintended consequences or inconsistencies elsewhere in the charter that may not be obvious tonight. A committee reviewing the charter holistically is in a much better position to identify the issues before the changes are made. I'm not saying the ideas in Article 39 are right or wrong. I am simply saying that now that we have a dedicated committee, the topic belongs in front of the committee, and it deserves the review that they will give it. So with that being said, I am making a motion to return this article back to the maker. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nuzzo. All right, we have a motion on the floor to refer Article 39 back to the maker. Do I have a second on that motion? All right, so moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to refer back to the maker? Mr. Manoogian.
Mr. Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, there have been a number of charter amendments proposed at town meeting. We don't even know what this committee, when they're going to convene. Let's face it, within the next 3 to 4 years, we could have a change. And when and if that change occurs, I would like to make sure that any replacement has experience. You can't be a teacher in the Saugus Public Schools, professional status, without having a master's degree, and this doesn't even specify that. You certainly can't be a vice principal. But to suggest that it's premature to ask that a replacement have experience, we got a $140 million budget here. Why wouldn't you want someone with experience? What's so outrageous about that at this time, particularly when it's going to take up to 2 years to get it through the legislature? I'd like a roll call vote on the proposal to refer.
All right, any further discussion on, thank you, Mr. Manoogian, on the amendment to Article 39? Mr. Federico.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting, town manager. Per our current town charter, the #1 responsibility, in my opinion, is the hiring and firing of the town manager. If you feel as though any selectman, and I feel every one of us, of my colleagues, are more than capable of looking at a pool of candidates and finding the most qualified, if you feel as though I cannot do that, or any other selectman or potential selectman does not have that capacity, they should not be voted in. So this, to me, is just added verbiage that isn't needed, and at the end of the day, make your vote count. Because, again, I have no business being a selectman if I can't look at a pool of candidates and make a recommendation to hire the most qualified. So I support returning this article to the maker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Federico. Mr. Cogliano.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, Anthony Cogliano, 310 Lincoln Ave. I've sat through several town manager renegotiations, hirings. I've listened to people with more degrees than you can fathom, and absolutely no leadership qualities whatsoever that came before me. And I think the way it's written now is fine. I think I know why the article was written, pretty clear on that. But I think the way the charter is written now is fine. I think we have an excellent town manager in Scott Kraft, who had little to no experience in that role prior to him getting the job, and he's been here. I think he's the longest tenured town manager we've had, and he does excellent at certain things I think he could improve on. But again, this is someone with little experience that, if this language is in there, we may not have got Scott. So I think it should be referred back to the maker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cogliano. Further discussion on the motion to refer? All right, seeing none, and we have had a roll call vote requested. All in favor of referring Article 39 back to the maker, when the clerk calls your name, signify by saying yes or aye. All opposed signify by saying nay or no, at which point, if it's no, we would resume discussion on the article as it's written.
Arsenal. Yes. Bartolo. No. Bell. Yes. Berube is not here. Bonito. Yes. Camuso. Yes. Chaparras. Yes. Connors is not here. Costello. No. Cross. Yes. Davis. Yes. Delios. No. DeMonte. Di Filippo. No. Doherty. Dunn. No. Fossey. Yes. Ferrari. No. Gill. No. Goodwin. No. Grabowski. No. Herman Durant. No. Hickman. No. Kelly. Yes. Lincoln. Yes. Lepresti. Yes. Malone. Manugian. No. Marchese. Yes. McCarthy. Yes. McCullough. Yes. Meredith. No. Washella. No. Nichols. Yes. Nuzzo. Yes. Ostro Mason. Yes. Palumba. Yes. Panetta. No. Panico. Paolini. No. Parlente. Yes. Parziale. Yes. Rossetti. Yes. Shanna. Yes. Scazzarella. No. Shalkowski. No. Taligan. No. Wallace. No. Is that a no, sir? No. Thank you. Whitcomb. Worthley. We have a tie.
No, we don't.
Who am I missing?
24-23.
Oh, I'm 24-23. My apologies. 24-23, yes.
24-23 in favor of referral. So by a small margin, the motion to refer has passed. All right. So Article 39 is referred back to the maker. Mr. Rossetti moves Article 40 for consideration, to see if the town will authorize to establish a committee to study and review the Saugus Town zoning bylaws for the purpose of determining if it is necessary to have a complete zoning rewrite, using the assistance of a professional zoning consultant, urban planners, and legal support. The composition of this committee will include 5 town meeting members who request membership from the moderator, the building inspector, or a member of the Inspectional Services Department, town planner, the fire chief, and representatives of the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals. There will be an odd number of committee members. The public and others may participate in the discussions. However, only the committee will vote on the final recommendations to be submitted to the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee for inclusion in a future town meeting warrant. The committee, after creating a survey based on the community's priorities, will consult with frequent zoning participants and issue a report by the end of 2026 with a recommendation on whether to revise the zoning bylaws. A recommendation to hire a professional zoning consultant to assist with the revision, as was recently done in Lynn, Massachusetts, may be included in the report. The cost of this exercise could come from free cash, or as the city of Lynn did, Saugus could request assistance from the legislature. They were able to offset most of the cost of the rewrite. Consideration should be given to the potential expense of defending zoning-related legal action as we are presently experiencing. Submitted by Peter Rossetti, Jr., Town Meeting Member, Precinct 2. Do I have a second on Article 40? Okay, again, we do have a recommendation from the Planning Board. One second. Their recommendation was, I mean, we don't actually have a recommendation. They did look at this, they reviewed it, and they said it wasn't applicable for them to make a recommendation because it doesn't affect the current zoning. There are no actual zoning changes proposed. It was also suggested that this should go before the Finance Committee, and I did speak with the chairman of the Finance Committee on this, but again, while it talks about future expenses that could occur on a future warrant based on a report coming out of this committee, the initial establishment of the committee does not expend any funds or do anything that would cause them to chime in on it either. So that's where we stand on that. So any discussion on Article 40? Mr. Rossetti?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, and others. My name is Peter Rossetti, Jr., a town meeting member from Precinct 2. The issue I want to talk about is zoning. What is zoning? Zoning is basically public health. Some of you may be familiar with some historical events, the Great Fire of London, the Chicago Fire, much more recently, the fire in Chelsea. All of those, if zoning had been properly in place, might not have happened. Thousands of people were killed, not in Chelsea, thank goodness, but that's what zoning is all about. Just to give you a little background, I've served on the Zoning Board of Appeals for more than 30 years. Why does anyone come to the Zoning Board of Appeals? Basically for one of three reasons. They come because they need a variance, which has something to do with the size or shape of their lot. They can come because they need a special permit, which says that they can't do something and they'd like to vary that. A two-family house, for example, or use of a property for something that is not allowed. Or they can come because of a change or an appeal against a decision of the building inspector. Anyways, over the years, we have seen many changes in Saugus with zoning. At one point in town, it was 5,000 square feet to build a house. At another point, it was 20,000 square feet to build a house on the west side of Route 1. After that, it changed, and it became 20,000 square feet to build on the east side of Route 1. So things have changed. Presently, our governor has said that Massachusetts is short approximately 200,000 housing units. She would like to see that done within the next 5 years. There's different ways of doing that. One of the ways of doing it that we've all seen is 40Bs. 40Bs are basically low-income housing. I've personally sat on about 8 different hearings on that. To be perfectly honest, I don't think there were anyone other than the person who submitted the petition who was happy with the results. There's also something new that's coming up, and we're starting to see it. At the present time, we have 2 or 3 of these each month. They're called ADUs. ADUs are accessory dwelling units. Basically, what that allows is, assuming you can fit it in your backyard, you can put up a 900 square foot house in your backyard. And guess what? The town can't do anything about it. So that's something that's coming. There's also no restriction on parking for that. So if you think your street is a little crowded now, if people start putting these houses up, guess what? It's going to get a lot more crowded. Okay. Other cities and towns have changed their zoning. They've done things. They've looked at these changes and what they want to see in the future. It's a very important thing. Some of the things that we've done in Saugus, for example, there was a time when we had signage on Route 1, and if someone had a video type sign or a digital sign, they were allowed to change those twice a day. So for 12 hours, it would say the same thing, okay? The idea was they didn't want to have it because it might distract people driving. So if you're doing 60 miles an hour on Route 1, which is probably slow, you're going to see the same sign when you go to work in the morning and when you come home at night. Needless to say, that's changed now. Now, there's really no limitation on that, okay? We've also had things, some of you may remember, there was a florist shop on the Linfells Parkway, and one of the things that they did was they also sold flags. Well, it turns out flags can be considered a sign. And if they can be considered a sign, that meant for the 50-plus signs they had, or 50-plus flags they had, each one constituted a sign, and each one they got a fine for on a daily basis. Okay, and I believe the fine was something like $50 a day. So 50 times the number of days, it starts adding up. That's how crazy some of these things can be. There have also been all kinds of other issues. One of the things that we may be seeing in the not-too-distant future, several things. I've been talking with people at the state in the legislature, and they have said that there may be changes in 40B coming up. And don't say, no, that can never happen. After 40B, we got 40R. Okay, so things can change. And potentially, if they said, hey, the 10% rule doesn't apply anymore, guess what? We could be seeing more on Route 1. That's just one thing. The ADUs, if they change the rules on that, if the state said, wait a minute, instead of 20,000, let's go back to 10. That's why I think we have to start looking at these things. We have to start working with the town planner and trying to determine, what are we going to do? What's this place going to look like in 10 or 20 years? Because things are changing, okay? Our parents, when they brought us up in Saugus, if they did, the theory was that we would buy a house here, close by your parents, and you could live in Saugus and everything would be wonderful. Well, if you've got kids these days and they're just getting out of school or college, try buying a house in Saugus, okay? It's very expensive. Our location to Boston, to the highways, that slows things down and increases the cost. You know, where do we want to go with this? Do we want to have a lot more apartments? Do we want to have a lot more condos? Do we want to go with cluster zoning? There's lots of different things we can do, but we have to think about it and plan for it now, okay? The changes are coming. We're going to see them, and it's going to be soon, sooner rather than later. If they're going to increase 200,000 housing units in the next 5 years, where? Most of them are going to be close to Boston, and we're pretty close. Okay, the purpose of the bylaw is to establish something where we set up a committee. This is our current zoning bylaw. It's approximately 150 pages long. Frequently, when people come into the Board of Appeals, one of the big comments is, gee, I didn't know that. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. I didn't know I needed to have this much room on the side of my house. I didn't know my garage couldn't go in the backyard right up against the edge. There's reasons for these things, and it makes sense. Sometimes you don't want to have people who have their houses right next to their neighbor's house on a lot line, because the firemen can't get by if there's a problem in the backyard. We see those all the time. And you try to work with people, but again, you got to plan for this stuff. If you don't plan for it, it's going to be a problem in the very near future. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rossetti. Any further discussion on Article 40? Yes, Ms. Palumbo.
Good evening, Town Moderator, Town Manager, Town Council, and Town Meeting members. I rise in support of Article 40 proposed by Peter Rossetti because this may be one of the most important long-term planning decisions we make for the future of our town. Zoning is not just about buildings or maps. It shapes the future of our community for generations. It affects housing, traffic, economic development, local businesses, environmental protection, public safety, infrastructure, and the overall character of our neighborhoods. The decision we make today will influence what Saugus will bring not only in 5 years, but in 20 to 30 years in the future. Article 40 gives us the opportunity to modernize outdated zoning regulations that no longer fully reflect the needs of today's residences, businesses, and families. Many of our current regulations were written a very long time. The way people live and work has changed dramatically. We now see more home-based businesses, mixed-use development, remote work environments, and evolving infrastructure demands. Our zoning should reflect modern realities while still preserving the character of Saugus. Most importantly, Article 40 helps protect the long-term stability of Saugus. Strong planning also preserves property values, supports smart economic growth, strengthens our tax base, and ensures that the future generations inherits a community that is organized, sustainable, and well-planned. This is not about overdevelopment, and it is about responsible planning. It is about ensuring the growth happens thoughtfully, strategically, and in a way that benefits the entire community. I respectfully ask my fellow town meeting members to support Article 40 and invest in the long-term future of Saugus. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Palumbo. Further discussion on Article 40? Okay. Yes, Mr. DiFilippo.
Joe DiFilippo, Precinct 4. So I stand here in support of Article 40 brought forth by my colleague from Precinct 2 because I view this as a common step toward reviewing and modernizing Saugus's zoning bylaws in a thoughtful and comprehensive way. This article does not change zoning, approve development, or appropriate funding. It simply establishes a study committee to evaluate whether a full zoning audit is needed. Our zoning bylaws over the years have been amended piece by piece throughout the decades, creating inconsistencies, overlapping authority, outdated language, and unclear standards that make interpretation difficult for residents, businesses, boards, and applicants alike. A collaborative review involving the town planner, building inspector, planning board, ZBA, and the fire chief is a responsible way to identify areas where our bylaws can be clarified, modernized, and made more consistent. This is about transparency, consistency, and improving a core governing document for the benefit of the entire town. So I respectfully ask support for Article 40. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DiFilippo. Any further discussion on Article 40? Yes.
Hi, I'm Sarah Petrozelli from Precinct 232 Western Ave. I'm just getting up to speak in support of Article 40, in part because I've been obviously doing a lot of research on the Saugus United Master Plan for 2035, and this is very much in line with that. I also live right outside of Cliftondale. I've seen how far it slid in the last decade or so, and how these zoning reviews can also help with economic budget pressures that we're having. You know, the next town meeting is going to be discussing the school budget. How can we as a community review this? With Article 40, we can review the zoning bylaws and see where we can make improvements to diversify our revenue to help with those budget pressure points. As a realtor, I think it's essential for any community to stay up to date with the zoning bylaws because it comes up more than you'd think, but I just wanted to speak in support because I think it's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 40? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of Article 40 to establish a committee to study and review the Saugus Town zoning bylaws for the purpose of determining if it's necessary to have a complete zoning rewrite, using the assistance of a professional zoning consultant, urban planners, and legal support. All in favor of the article as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. You know what? We'll do a quick show of hands to make sure we have an accurate count. If you would, all in favor of Article 40, please raise your right hand and the tellers will take the count. Hold your hand up there for a moment. So
22,
it's
23.
45. All opposed, please raise your right hand. The tellers will take the count. All right, Article 40 has passed by a vote of 45 to 2.
Can the two that said no, can you raise your hand for me again, please? Thank you.
Okay.
Article 40?
Do you want to do a roll call for your?
They just asked for a roll call.
Well, that was after the vote, though. Technically, we have a vote, the motion passed.
People started raising their hands again.
All right,
I think we should do a roll call. Is everybody okay
we'll
with
do a roll call vote.
Give me 1 second, please. Arsenal. Yes. Bartolo. No. Bell. Yes. Bonito. Yes. I'm sorry, Berube is absent. Bonito is a yes. Camuso. Yes. Chaparras. Yes. Connors is absent. Costello. Yes. Cross. Yes. Davis. Yes. Delios. Yes. DeMonte. Yes. DiFilippo. Yes. Doherty. Dunn. Yes. Fossey. Yes. Ferrari. Yes. Gill. Yes. Goodwin. Yes. Grabowski. No. Herman Durant. Yes. Hickman. Yes. Kelly. Yes. Lincoln. Yes. Lepresti. Yes. Malone. Yes. Manugian. Yes. Marchese. Yes. McCarthy. Yes. McCullough. Meredith. Moschella. Yes. Nichols. Yes. Nuzzo. Yes. Astro Mason. Yes. Palumba. Yes. Panetta. Yes. Panico. Yes. Paolini. Yes. Parlente. Yes. Parziale. Yes. I'm sorry, who was a no? I can't hear that. Paolini was a no, thank you. I'm sorry about that. Parlente was a yes. Parziale was a yes. Rossetti. Yes. Shenna. Yes. Scazzarella. Shalkowski. Yes. Taligan. Yes. Wallace. Yes. Whitcomb. Yes. Worthley. Worthley was a yes, correct? Okay, 42 yeas, 5 nays, 2 absent. I'm sorry about that, but sometimes I can't hear you. I don't mean to be rude about that, but I honestly can't with the high ceilings.
All right, so Article 40 has passed by a vote of 42 to 5. Mr. Palante moves Article 41. Article 40, that was, has passed. It was Article 41 for consideration. To see if the town will vote to amend the general bylaws by adding a new section establishing a recurring charter review committee every 5 years beginning in 2031 as follows. Section 10, periodic charter review committee. purpose, beginning in the year 2031 and every 5 years thereafter, the town of Saugus shall establish a charter review committee to review the Saugus Town Charter and recommend any updates or amendments for consideration. Composition and term. The Charter Review Committee shall consist of 11 town meeting members selected by public lottery from those who express interest. Each Charter Review Committee shall serve a term of 2 years from the date of its formation. Selection and vacancies. A call for volunteers shall be issued to all town meeting members. If more than 11 members express interest, a random public lottery shall be conducted at a posted session at town meeting, administered by the town clerk or other designated municipal official. If a member resigns or is unable to serve, the vacancy shall be filled by public lottery from a new pool of interested town meeting members. If no new volunteers come forward, the seat shall remain vacant unless the committee falls below 7 members, in which case a new call for volunteers shall be issued. Committee operations. The committee shall organize within 30 days of appointment and elect a chair, vice chair, and clerk. All meetings shall be open to the public and conducted in accordance with the open meeting law. Meeting notices shall be posted in accordance with the open meeting law and the town's regular posting requirements. The committee shall not have a budget. The committee may consult with town officials, legal counsel, or subject matter experts as needed. All recommendations made by the committee shall be non-binding. Reporting and final recommendations. The committee shall present an initial report at the first annual town meeting following its formation. A final report and recommendation shall be presented at the second annual town meeting following its formation. The committee shall dissolve upon the completion of its final report unless town meeting votes to extend its term. Recurrence. A new charter review committee shall be formed every 5 years, with the next committees established in 2031, 36, 41, 46, and so on. Each committee shall follow the same selection process and structure. Submitted by Matthew Palante, town meeting member, precinct 2. Do I have a second on Article 41? All right, moved and seconded. We do have an opinion from the town council on Article 41. It says Article 41 is an article seeking to amend the town bylaws by adding a bylaw to establish a recurring charter review committee every 5 years. The bylaw, if passed, would not have any binding effect on future town meeting actions based on any reports or recommendations of this committee. As outlined in my opinion on Article 37, there is a statutory legal process for the review and revision of a town charter. All right, so Article 41 is moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Camuso. All right, we have a motion to refer Article 41 back to the maker. It's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion to refer? Mr. Palante.
Matthew Palante, Precinct 2. It makes sense to return this at the moment. I don't think it's time to try to add this into the bylaws. We already have the Charter Review Committee moving forward, so I asked to withdraw this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palante. All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor of the motion to refer Article 41 back to the maker signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Article 41 has been referred back to the maker. 1 second. All right, Mr. Palante moves Article 42 for consideration. To see if the town will vote to establish an 11-member bylaw review committee to review the town's general bylaws and recommend necessary updates, amendments, or consolidations for the purposes of modernization, clarity, consistency, and legal compliance. Said committee shall be composed of 11 town meeting members selected by public lottery from a pool of those who expressed interest in serving. Said committee shall serve in an advisory capacity only and shall not have the authority to adopt or amend bylaws. Said committee shall operate under the following guidelines. A call for volunteers shall be issued to all town meeting members. If more than 11 members express interest, a random public lottery shall be conducted at a posted meeting, administered by the town clerk or other designated municipal official. Members shall serve for the full duration of the review process, anticipated to be 2 years. The committee shall organize within 30 days of appointment and elect a chair, vice chair, and clerk. All meetings shall be open to the public and conducted in accordance with the open meeting law. The committee shall not have a budget, but may consult with town officials, legal counsel, or subject matter experts as needed. If a member resigns or is otherwise unable to serve, the vacancy shall be filled by public lottery from a new pool of interested town meeting members. If no new volunteers come forward, the seat shall remain vacant unless the committee falls below 7 members, in which case a new call for volunteers shall be issued. The committee shall present an initial report at the 2027 annual town meeting. A final report and recommendations shall be presented at the 2028 annual town meeting. The committee shall dissolve upon completion of its final report unless town meeting votes to extend its term or establish a recurring review process, or take any other action relative thereto. Submitted by Matthew Palante, town meeting member, Precinct 2. Do I have a second on Article 42? Second. All right, Article 42, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Palante.
Mr. Moderator, Mr. Town Manager, Town Meeting members, Matthew Palante, Precinct 2. I'm getting used to wearing glasses here. All right, this article does not change a single bylaw. What it does is create a temporary, open, transparent committee to review the town's general bylaws and bring recommendations back to town meeting for future consideration. Any proposed changes would still have to come back before this body for debate and approval. Nothing happens automatically. One of the best examples of why this is needed actually came up just last week during discussion on the hunting law. It was acknowledged publicly that a permitting requirement already contained in the bylaw has apparently not been followed or enforced for years. Yet at the same time, town meeting still acted to amend the same bylaw by adding the additional restriction. I think that actually proves the point of why a bylaw review committee is needed. Before we continue adding new language onto old bylaws, we should step back and ask, are the existing provisions clear, realistic, enforceable, and actually being administered the way the bylaws say they should be? A review committee gives the town the opportunity to identify situations exactly like that, where the written bylaws and real-world practice may no longer match. As I reviewed the town bylaws, there were multiple examples showing why a broader review makes sense. There are purchasing provisions that still reference a $25 verbal order threshold, sections that still rely heavily on older paper mailing procedures, and enforcement language that no longer reflects modern municipal practice. There are also administrative and public safety sections that reference structures and statutes from decades ago. That does not automatically mean those bylaws are wrong, but it does mean they deserve a careful review to determine whether they still make sense, whether they are enforceable, and whether they still reflect how the town actually operates today. Residents benefit when bylaws are clear, organized, understandable, and consistent. When bylaws become outdated or inconsistent, enforcement becomes uneven, departments interpret rules differently, residents become confused, and town meeting spends more time reacting to problems instead of proactively improving how government functions. A bylaw review committee helps modernize and organize the rules people are expected to follow. This is not some unusual radical idea. Municipalities across Massachusetts regularly review and modernize their bylaws and charters to remove obsolete language, improve enforcement, clarify responsibilities, ensure consistency with current law and modern operations. This is simply good municipal housekeeping. Many Massachusetts communities already have formal bylaw review committees: Wellesley, South Hadley, Rentham, just to name a few. If bylaws are never reviewed, outdated language accumulates, contradictions remain in place, enforcement gaps grow, and eventually a town begins operating differently than what is actually written in the bylaws. I think we see that today. That creates confusion not only for residents, but also for town departments, boards, and town meeting itself. To the best of my research, Saugus does not appear to have conducted a comprehensive review of the general bylaws, even as the town has changed dramatically over time. Instead, we've largely handled issues one article at a time, adding language here and there as situations arise. I believe that's exactly why a structured review process now makes sense. I also believe this article creates a fair and transparent process. The committee would be selected by lottery among town meeting members. It would operate publicly under open meeting law, and any recommendations would come back publicly before town meeting. No single board or official controls the process. At the end of the day, we regularly review budgets, capital plans, and policies. And as of tonight, our zoning bylaws and charter. It only makes sense that we should also review the bylaws that govern how the town operates. This committee would simply allow Saugus to identify outdated, inconsistent, unclear, and unenforced bylaws and bring thoughtful recommendations back to town meeting in a transparent and organized way. That is not controversial. That is responsible government. I urge all of you town meeting members to vote and approve this committee. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Palante. Any further discussion on Article 42? Mr. Menugian.
Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, we have, upon voting this, we will now have places for 31 town meeting members to serve on committees. Article 31 has 5, Article 37 has 10, Article 40 has 5, Article 42 will have 11. Several years ago, town meeting voted to create a apartment inspection committee, 5 members. One member never showed up, another member never got the work done, and we couldn't issue a final report. I'm cautioning all of you that if you get involved in a committee, please attend, please show up. It's a huge commitment. Motivation is important for the maker, I hear it, but if you're going to have people, make sure they're going to come. And I don't know where you're going to get all the meeting space and custodial time and all that for having these meetings. I hope you can. But it's a huge commitment. The last time the bylaws were updated, I chaired the committee. We had a student intern, Ming Chow. I believe he's a professor now at Tufts or somewhere. And the bylaws that you have today are a result of the recodification, the numbering system, the 301 system, 300 system, 400, and so forth. We got rid of all the horse and buggy bylaws. But I'll support this. I just caution you that make sure if you get membership that they're going to show up and do the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Menugian. Further discussion on Article 42. Mr. Grabowski.
Mr. Moderator, fellow town meeting members, I just have a procedural question for town council. In this article, it says a final report and recommendation shall be presented at the 2028 annual town meeting. Is that legal to have 2 town meetings from now? Is this town meeting going to handicap those people that are elected not now, but in 2028? Is that proper procedures to implement?
Thank you, Mr. Grabowski.
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is an advisory report. I mean, when you set up these committees, they're non-binding. It doesn't bind future town meetings to do anything. The non-binding resolutions that you adopt are not binding on the town manager or on any department head. So this non-binding and resolutions or policies or committees that you've set up, kind of a new thing over the last several years. As you know, I've been doing this a long time, and these are something new to the town meeting, and I think you can do it. It's non-binding. You can't bind future town meetings. You'd have to have articles that would result from these recommendations. But again, it's non-binding. You can't bind future town meetings, so it doesn't really matter what it says. It's subject to town meeting voting in the future on any proposed articles. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vespoli. Any further discussion on Article 42? Yes, Mr. Costello.
Martin Costello, Precinct 10. I'm going to have to ask Mr. Vassapoli to take the microphone again in a couple of minutes here. I'm going to do this on the grounds that he is town council. And if the town of Saugus has bylaws that are archaic, inapplicable, whatever, and a citizen of this town runs into a situation and the bylaw is something that prevents or allows them to do something that they should not be able to do, Mr. Vassapoli is town counsel to this town manager. He's there as an advisory capacity. I'm assuming that in that capacity, he's going to be there to try to navigate through these difficulties if there is something to do with bylaws. So that's my point, and I'd just like to get corroboration on that from Mr. Vassapoli. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Costello.
My question to Mr. Vassapoli is, as the town council and advisor to the town manager, in your capacity, in that capacity, do you come across these situations with bylaws and have to advise the town manager and the town that we're in a situation that's ambiguous and needs to be clarified?
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, as I said previously, I've been doing this a long time. There are many bylaws on the books that are outdated. There are many zoning bylaws that need to be updated. It's just a matter of the times. And over the years, this town meeting has voted to amend the town bylaws, to amend the zoning bylaws. Yes, there are problems. When you suggest I advise the town manager, obviously I also advise all the other boards in town and all the other town employees. And as time progresses, things change. As a previous speaker has said, we had things in the town bylaws that were just archaic, that aren't applied. If you read through the town bylaws, I think you'd be surprised at some of the things that are prohibited in this town. And I know the previous speaker indicated when there was a revision to the town bylaws, there were actually a numerical system was implemented, which was really good for indexing it. But yes, there are many bylaws, zoning and regular bylaws, that are archaic, that do need updating. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vassapoli. All right, any further discussion on Article 42? All right, seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of Article 42 to establish an 11-member bylaw review committee to review the town's general bylaws and recommend necessary updates, amendments, or consolidations for the purpose of modernization, clarity, consistency, and legal compliance, as previously spelled out, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, Article 42 has passed. All right, Mr. Palante moves Article 43 for consideration, that the town of Saugus, to see if the town will vote to adopt the following policy, that the town of Saugus authorize elected town meeting members to receive read-only access to the Massachusetts Division of Local Services DLS Gateway platform for the limited purpose of reviewing municipal financial records and data maintained within the platform that are accessible to authorized municipal officials and relevant to their legislative responsibilities. Said access shall be strictly limited to read-only privileges and shall not include the ability to input, edit, alter, or submit data. Town meeting members shall only access sections of the DLS Gateway containing municipal financial records and data relevant to the review of budgets, appropriations, tax policy, and other fiscal matters that may come before town meeting, including but not limited to tax rate recapitulation sheets, levy limit worksheets, new growth reports, and overlay account data. The purpose of this policy is to improve transparency, strengthen information decision-making, strengthen informed decision-making by the town's legislative body and provide town meeting members with timely access to financial information relied upon in the performance of their official duties. The town manager, town clerk, or another designated municipal official shall coordinate with the Department of Revenue and DLS Gateway support to facilitate the creation of read-only user credentials for town meeting members who request such access to the extent permitted by the Commonwealth and the DLS Gateway system. or take any other action relative thereto, submitted by Matthew Palante, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 2. Do I have a second on Article 43? All right, moved and seconded. I have an opinion from the Town Council. Article 43 is an article seeking to adopt a policy regarding town meeting members' access to the Division of Local Services Gateway platform. The article mandates that the town manager, town clerk, or another designated municipal officer coordinate with the Department of Revenue. This article is not proper and should not be voted upon, as the town meeting has no authority to adopt a policy that would direct town officials or take action that would be binding upon the operation of town government. I also have an amendment that was submitted by the maker of the article, I believe based on the town council's opinion, to reword it as such, to see if the town meeting will express its support for improving transparency and access to municipal financial information by encouraging the town manager, town clerk, or other appropriate municipal officials to explore, in coordination with the Massachusetts Division of Local Services and Department of Revenue, whether town meeting members may be provided with read-only access or comparable timely access to municipal financial records and data contained within the DLS Gateway platform that are relevant to their legislative responsibilities, including but not limited to tax rate recapitulation sheets, levy limit worksheets, new growth reports, free cash certifications, and overlay account data to the extent permitted by law and the DLS Gateway system, or take any other action relative thereto. Do I have a second on the amendment to Article 43? All right, so we have Article 43 moved and now amended. We have the opinion from Town Council. Do we have any discussion on Article 43? Yes, Mr. Palante.
Matthew Palante, Precinct 2. Town Council is going to come up here and basically say the same thing he stated in his opinion, which is okay, but I'm just going to read what I wrote anyways because I took the time to write it, and I think it's important. I offered the amendment to this article to clarify that it is not intended to mandate executive action or require anything beyond what is legally permissible. The amended article instead expresses town meeting support for improving transparency and exploring whether greater read-only or equivalent access to municipal financial information can be provided to elected town meeting members through the DLS Gateway system or similar reporting methods. That system, for anybody who doesn't know, is designed for elected officials, which we actually fall under. The article is fundamentally about transparency, accountability, and informed decision-making. Town meeting is the legislative body of this town. We are elected by residents to review budgets, vote appropriations, approve borrowing, evaluate tax policy, and make financial decisions involving millions of tax dollars. Much of the detailed financial information supporting those decisions exists within the Division of Local Services Gateway system, already used by municipal officials in the Department of Revenue. That includes tax rate recap sheets, levy limit worksheets, new growth reports, free cash information, overlay data, and other municipal financial records directly connected to the votes we are asked to take. Now, some of this information may technically be obtainable through requests, reports, or public record processes. But the issue is not whether pieces of information exist somewhere. The issue is whether elected town meeting members can reasonably and efficiently review the underlying financial information before we are asked to vote on budgets, appropriations, borrowing, and tax matters. Right now, town meeting members often have to rely on summaries, delayed responses, or repeated requests for information that directly impacts our votes. In practice, requests for information are not always fulfilled consistently or in a timely manner. If we are trusted to vote on millions of taxpayer dollars, then I believe it is reasonable for us to seek timely and organized access to the financial information underlying those decisions. This article does not seek editing authority, administrative control, or unrestricted access. It is not asking town meeting members to operate the system. It is simply asking the town to support exploring greater transparency and better access to financial information relevant to the legislative responsibilities residents elected us to carry out. Transparency should not be viewed as a threat to government. Transparency strengthens accountability, improves oversight, and increases public confidence in the decisions we make as a town. I would also entertain any amendment that the town council believes is necessary to make the article, votable, but as it's written in that amendment, I believe that it is. I'm not asking for anything to be mandated. I'm simply asking, as we did with a prior article on the FOIA requests, that we're just looking to encourage, the idea of like exploring options. So to me, that's not mandating anything. The town manager can just say, no, I'm not going to do that. Simple. But as a body, we could support the idea of it and express, us supporting it, I think is a big step in the right direction in improving transparency in this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palante. Further discussion? Yes, Mr. Vasapoli.
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, the issue is, as I try to relate to the town meeting has no authority to direct, urge, request the town manager or town officials to take any particular action. Town meeting's authority appropriate all the funds that are expended in the town, every nickel. The town manager can't spend any funds or any money that isn't appropriated by this town meeting. You adopt bylaws, regular bylaws and zoning bylaws, and you accept statutes. Town meeting doesn't set policy. They only appropriate money, as I said, and adopt bylaws. So that's the concern I have, that it would be exceeding the authority of the town meeting to urge, encourage, direct the town manager or any town employees to really take any particular action. If you look at the charter, the powers under the town manager, very strong. It's called a strong town manager form of government, and it goes back to 1947 when the selectmen were running the town, and the thought was back then that the selectmen were too involved and they need a strong town manager form of government, and that's what we have in this town. So it's kind of a balance of powers like we have in the federal government. And it's the town manager that's in charge, and the town meeting appropriates the money. So, again, my concern with this article is that it's urging and encouraging the town manager and the town employees to do something. The other thing I would suggest is I'm happy to review these warrant articles before they're submitted to the selectmen. Understand that I do not see these articles till they're formally in the warrant, because what the statute says is if you have sufficient amount of signatures, the selectmen have no choice but to insert it in the annual warrant. So I don't see it until the warrant is formally put together. So I'm happy, and it happens all the time, to review any articles any town meeting members may propose, and I'll tell you right out, whether I think it's within your authority to act on these articles. It might make it easier for some of you, especially some of the new members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vasapoli. Yes, Mr. Serino.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty familiar with the gateway system as chairman of the Board of Assessors for 6 years. The gateway system is not open up to elected officials. What the gateway system is in order to set a tax rate, every city and town has to use that gateway system to enter information in before we can set a tax rate. Once I was off the Board of Assessors, they took me out of the system completely, so it's not for elected officials. But any information you need, what's in the gateway system, what's in the tax rate recap that we talk about, all that information is online under the Department of Revenue. That's all you have to go on is go into the Department of Revenue, then look at the Division of Local Services, and you'll find all that information that's on the gateway system. You'll find the town budget, the estimates versus the actual. You'll find free cash that was certified stabilization fund. Also the cherry sheets and the local aid that we get every year. Short and long-term debt for the town. Proposition 2.5 increases and any debt exclusions that the town had. And it gives you a history. It'll go back 20 years. The community's tax rate, new growth revenue, building permit fees, meals and room occupancy taxes, motor vehicle excise taxes, the community's bond rating, the levy limit worksheet, overlay, and many more things. So that is open. You can get all that information on the Division of Local Services. If you need any help, I'll help you out. But the article's really sort of out of line. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Serino. Any further discussion on, yes? Come on up.
Alicia Benito, Precinct 6. I wasn't planning on speaking, but I feel like the DLS, this is the most important thing that as town meeting members, we should be paying attention to. And as a newly elected official, I really didn't know where to look. I was like, wow, I'm voting on all these millions of dollars, and this feels very overwhelming. I need to know what these numbers are. It took a while to find it, and like the previous speaker, yeah, you have to look through the Department of Revenue. I just feel like if this was, if you're able to look at it, or if it was provided, it would make us better town meeting members of voting on these types of things and feeling confident and comfortable as to what money is in certain accounts. Transparency is always a great thing. I support it. I don't think we want to sit and change anything in this DLS, but yeah, I do find that it is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Mr. Manoogian.
Mr. Moderator, I understand the perspective of the young lady that just spoke. And the maker of this article, his language here, the purpose is to improve, transparency, that's a buzzword, provide town meeting members with timely access to financial information relied upon in the performance of their official duties. We have a finance committee that is appointed by the moderator, who's appointed by you. That information should be coming from the Finance Committee. You will be appropriating, or being asked to appropriate, $5,000 for a clerk. Every other community, the Finance Committee issues a report that has this information in it. Those town meeting members in those communities you mentioned, they don't have to go to the DLS. Look at Andover's report of the Finance Committee. It's 100 pages. Everything you're asking for is there. Now, if the Finance Committee needs more support to do that type of work, we should get it for them. They are an arm of this town meeting. But read what the bylaw and the charter says about the Finance Committee. They have unlimited authority to look at any record at any time in this town. They can get it. What's happening here is that town meeting, or a segment of town meeting, is trying to leapfrog into the process of administration. There's a trend that's happening here. Let's call for what it is. Your goal is admirable to get the data, but the tool is your Finance Committee, appointed by the moderator, who's appointed by you. So take a look at what other communities do for a report of the finance. We used to do it. It used to be it's a lot of work to put a report together by a Finance Committee. And they may need more money to hire a clerk to help them with their minutes and so forth, but that information should be coming from the Finance Committee that you indirectly appoint. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manoogian. All right, further discussion on Article 43. Yes.
Hi, Sarah Petrozelli, Precinct 2. I just wanted to say, while this might not be a votable article based on the council's feedback, I would strongly urge the council to work with maybe not now, but maybe in the future, something similar, because as the gentleman that was just up here, transparency is not at all a buzzword. Transparency is what is best to have a community that is based on trust. I don't think it's a secret here, if anyone is clued into what the ongoing community discussion is, that we have a vast distrust amongst what goes on in this room and by administration. Transparency, I think, could help bridge that gap. However the means to that transparency works is certainly not a takeover, it's certainly not a culture war, it's certainly not anything other than an up-and-coming generation, mainly of parents, who want to see where their tax dollars are going and how it's forging a community that's best for their children. Transparency is a great avenue to get there, and respectfully, I find it disrespectful to call it a buzzword. But however the town council can work with the person that put up this article, I think would be in the best interest of the community and town meeting overall. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Yes, Mr. Palante.
Glasses. Just a couple of quick things of information from the actual Gateway homepage. DLS Gateway offers local officials an immediate way to enter data and verify submission status across all the regulatory review programs administered by the Division of Local Services. DLS Gateway is restricted to municipal officials listed in the Gateway's local officials directory. Now, some of those officials are select board members, finance committee members, city council, municipal clerks, and other officials. We are the governing body. We are the one that appropriates all the money. We should have access to all the information, and all due respect to my colleague from Precinct 10, I like to do my own research. I like to see what's going on before FinCom even begins, and I know I'm not alone in that. And in terms of my article not being vote, I mean, he's just suggesting that we don't vote yes on it. Again, if you read my amendment, it's to see if town meeting will express its support. Express its support. So basically what we're saying is, hey, we support the idea of transparency. So express its support for improving transparency and access to municipal financial information by encouraging the town manager. We're not telling them to do anything. I get like urging in the language, but we're encouraging. We're just saying, hey, Mr. Town Manager, we really support this. We'd like you to take a second look at this. This isn't, it's non-binding, another non-binding resolution. I know that the town council loves non-binding resolutions. It makes it real easy for them. So again, there's no reason we shouldn't vote on this. You know, again, you can still consider me new, but I will, for the future, Mr. Town Council, I will run things through you prior to coming up here so I don't waste any time. But I think this is important. I think it's really important that we send a message and say, hey, we support transparency in this town. And if you're not mistaken, there's a new body here. We have a lot of new town meeting members, and that trend's going to continue. So I think it's really important that we continue to keep the doors open and really just sort of have everything out in the open and just try to improve this town for the residents and the community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palante. Mr. Bassapoli.
Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, the issue and the problem that I see is that the language has been changed to express its support, so to the manager and to the town officials. So what does that mean? So if town meeting votes it and the town manager or the town employees don't do what this article is asking, the town meeting, I'm sure, is going to argue, well, wait a minute, Mr. Manager and Mr. Town Employees, we voted this, and we're expressing our support for this. So does it impose a moral obligation on the manager and the town employees? That's the issue I have. It's non-binding, but to me it's almost imposing a moral obligation that this town meeting really doesn't have the authority to do. It's up to the town manager and the town employees to administer the funds that you appropriate. So that's the issue I have with these non-binding resolutions and articles like this. So expressing its support, to me, is putting almost a moral obligation on the manager and the administration, to which really is not legal, number one, and really this town meeting doesn't have the authority to do it. And I see this evolving. I understand the new town meeting members. You just have to understand what your authority is and what you don't have the authority to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vasapoli. What's that, I'm sorry? All right, we have a motion before us on Article 43 for indefinite postponement. Okay. So we have a motion for indefinite postponement on Article 43. Do I have a second? All right, seconded. We have a request for a roll call vote, so we're going to do this on Article 43. All in favor of indefinite postponement would signify by saying aye or yes when the clerk calls your name. If you're opposed, signify by saying no or nay.
Motion to IP.
Motion to IP. A yes vote is in favor of indefinite postponement. A no vote is opposed, and we'll continue the discussion.
Everybody all set? Arsenal. Bartolo. Bell. Berube is not here. Bonito. Camuso. Chaporis. Connors is not here. Costello. Cross. Davis. Delios. DeMonte. DiFilippo. Doherty. Dunn. Fossey. Ferrari. Gill. Goodwin. Grabowski. Herman Durant. Hickman. Kelly. Lincoln. Lepresti. Malone. Manugian. Marchese. McCarthy. McCullough. Meredith. Michella. Nichols. Nuzzo. Ostro Mason. Palumba. Panetta. Panico. Paolini. Parlente. Parziale. Rossetti. Shanna. Scazzarella. Shalkowski. Taligan. Wallace. Whitcomb. Worthley. Yeas are 31, nays are 16, 2 absent.
So with that, Article 43 has been indefinitely postponed. 3116. Okay. Mr. Palante moves Article 44 for consideration. To see if the town will vote to amend the general bylaws of the town of Saugus by adding a new bylaw prohibiting the placement and operation of cryptocurrency automated teller machines, ATMs, in virtual currency kiosks, or take any other action relative thereto. Chapter Prohibition of Cryptocurrency Automated Teller Machines and Virtual Currency Kiosks. 1. Purpose and intent. This bylaw is adopted pursuant to the town's home rule authority and its authority under General Laws, Chapter 40, subsection 21, to protect public health, safety, and welfare. The town, acting to protect residents from financial fraud and to preserve public safety, finds the unregulated cryptocurrency automated teller machines and virtual currency kiosks pose risk to customers, including financial fraud, money laundering, and lack of recourse for users. Such devices are able to convert currency into virtual currency instantaneously and irreversibly, which exposes the most vulnerable residents of the town, including seniors, to unnecessary risks. The town further finds that the current absence of sufficient federal and state consumer protections and regulatory oversight for such devices necessitates a municipal prohibition to safeguard residents and preserve public safety. Definitions. For purposes of this bylaw, the following terms shall have the meanings indicated. Cryptocurrency, a digital or virtual currency that uses cryptography for security and operates independently of the central bank, including but not limited to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and similar blockchain-based tokens. Cryptocurrency is a digital representation of value used as a medium of exchange, a unit of account, or a store of value, but does not have legal tender status as recognized by the United States government. Cryptocurrency automated teller machine, virtual currency kiosk, any self-service kiosk machine, terminal, or device, whether standalone or located within a retail establishment or other publicly accessible location that enables users to buy, sell, exchange, or transfer cryptocurrency or virtual currency through the machine or device using cash, check, debit card, credit card, electronic payment, or other means of payment. 3, prohibition. No person, business, or entity shall host, allow, install, operate, maintain, permit, locate, place, or continue the installation or operation of any cryptocurrency automated teller machine or virtual currency kiosk within the geographic boundaries of the town of Saugus. All cryptocurrency automated teller machines and virtual currency kiosks existing in the town of Saugus as of the effective date of this bylaw shall be removed within 60 days after the effective date. Enforcement and penalties. This bylaw shall be enforced by the Saugus Police Department, the Building Department, and the Inspectional Services Department, or any other authorized agent designated by the town manager. Any person or entity found to be in violation of this bylaw shall be subject to a fine of $300 per day per device enforceable under the non-criminal disposition procedure pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 40, subsection 21D. Each day during which a violation continues shall constitute a separate offense. Severability. If any provision of this bylaw is held to be invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, such invalidity shall not affect the remaining provisions, which shall remain in full force and effect. Matthew Pallanti, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 2. Do I have a second on Article 44? All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Pallanti.
I feel like I've been up here all night. Matthew Pallanti, Precinct 2. All right. This article is about public safety and consumer protection. It is not about banning cryptocurrency. It is about prohibiting physical cryptocurrency ATMs and virtual currency kiosks in Saugus because these machines have become a common tool used in scams. The way these scams work is simple and devastating. A victim is contacted by someone pretending to be from a bank, law enforcement, a government agency, or tech support. They are pressured to withdraw cash, go to one of these machines, scan a QR code, and deposit the money. Once that cash is converted into cryptocurrency and transferred, it is extremely difficult and often impossible to recover. This is not theoretical. The FBI reported that in 2025, there are more than 13,400 complaints involving cryptocurrency kiosks, with losses over $388 million, and more than half of those complaints involving people over 50. The FTC previously reported more than $65 million in Bitcoin ATM scam losses in just the first 6 months of 2024, with older adults more than 3 times as likely as younger adults to report losses. Massachusetts is seeing the same problem. The Attorney General filed suit against Bitcoin Depot, alleging the company facilitated crypto scams against Massachusetts consumers, and that more than half of the company's kiosk revenue in Massachusetts was scam-related. AARP Massachusetts has now called for an outright ban on cryptocurrency ATMs, saying regulation is no longer enough to stop the ongoing harm. Other Massachusetts communities have already acted. Waltham passed a ban in September 2025 after repeated local incidents. Gloucester approved its virtual currency kiosk prohibition in September 2025, stating directly that these kiosks convert fiat currency into virtual currency instantaneous and irreversibly, exposing vulnerable residents to unnecessary risk. Haverhill banned cryptocurrency ATMs in 2026 after reported local scam losses, including reports of more than 1 million in crypto scam losses across 33 incidents in 2024 and 2025. South Hadley also moved forward with a town bylaw after its police department identified the same risks: fraud, money laundering, lack of recourse, and transactions that are almost impossible to recover. This article before us is modeled on the same public safety approach. It prohibits anyone from installing, operating, maintaining, hosting, or allowing a cryptocurrency ATM or virtual currency kiosk in Saugus. Existing machines would have to be removed within 60 days, and violations would be subject to a $300 daily fine per device. This is not anti-technology, and it's not anti-crypto. People who want to lawfully buy and sell cryptocurrency still have other ways to do it. This article focuses only on cash to crypto machines in public locations because those machines are being used as the final steps in scams that can wipe out someone's savings before police ever have the realistic chance to intervene. At the end of the day, this is a simple question. Do we want to leave these machines in place and wait until more residents are harmed, or do we want to act now, the way other Massachusetts communities already have? I believe Saugus should act now to protect residents, especially seniors, from a type of fraud that is growing, fast-moving, and very difficult to reverse once it happens. And based on public operator listings, I was able to confirm 4 active listings in Saugus. They are Stop and Shop on Main Street, Nasty Nonnies on Main Street, CVS on Broadway, and Speedway on Broadway all have these kiosks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palante. Any further discussion on Article 44? Mr. Costello.
Martin Costello, Precinct 10. On the face of this article, I'm inclined to agree with the intent. I only have one question for my colleague from Precinct 2. He mentioned at the conclusion of his dissertation that there are already some of these machines in the town of Saugus. The police chief is not here tonight, but I want to know, has anybody been victimized already in this town from these machines that you know of?
Mr. Palante?
I don't know if anybody in this town specifically has been victimized. I did reach out to the chief of police, and I did speak with him last week. He was hoping that we were going to have the article debated on last week. You know, he was willing to come up and speak in favor of it. He wasn't opposed to it. He sees both sides of it. So to answer your question, sir, no, I have no idea if anybody in Saugus has actually been victimized. A lot of times people may not even want to report something like that because they're embarrassed by it. And just for full transparency, town council, what he told me was that I was all set with this one.
Thank you, Mr. Palante. All right, any further discussion on Article 44? Mr. Manoogian, come on up.
Precinct 10. Usually when we have a bylaw, we say where it's going to go in the bylaws to insert a new section. We have general provisions, 100, government of town meeting, 200 section, 300 section, provisions related to town offices and employees, finance, the 400 section, boards, committees, councils, departments, and commissions, the 500 section, public safety, 600 section, public works, 700, licenses and permits, 800 section, miscellaneous, 900. Where would you want this inserted? In the 600 section under public safety or miscellaneous? And Mr. Town Council, should we be identifying where this will go in the bylaw? Not necessarily? We can add the number after it's voted? Okay. By the Attorney General. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manoogian. Any further discussion on Article 44? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the question. I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but all in favor of Article 44 as presented to, hold on. To see if, to authorize the elected town meeting members, no, wrong one. To see if the town will vote to amend the general bylaws by adding a new bylaw prohibiting the placement and operation of cryptocurrency automated teller machines and virtual currency kiosks. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Article 44 is passed. All right, as a courtesy to the maker, Ms. Arsenault moves Article 45 for consideration, to see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaws of the town of Saugus by adding the following. Amend Article 3 definition, Section 3.1 general, by adding the following new definition under 3.1. Motor vehicle sales class 2, license requirements and limit. A business that acquires and sells secondhand motor vehicles, Mass General Law, Chapter 140, all vehicles for sale must be stored on site and require an S2 permit for the storage of the vehicles by the Board of Selectmen. Zoning Article 5, auto showrooms and lots. This zoning bylaw shall include all methods of sales, including online. There shall be a limit of 13 Class 2 licenses issued townwide. This was submitted by Deborah Panetta and Michael Serino. Do I have a second on Article 45? All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Serino.
Steve, the planning board gave a recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. What this does is add a definition to the zoning bylaws. Motor vehicle second-hand licenses are issued by the Board of Selectmen under Chapter 140, but this will include a definition in there. What it does is it clarifies the requirements. Also, it has to do with online vehicles too. It just clarifies that, and requires all second-hand vehicles to make sure they're stored on site, so they don't say, well, you know, we have the vehicles off-site, but we need a license to sell them at this location. So that's what that does, and it also limits it. Right now, we have 22 licenses in town of used car lots. 9 are out on Route 1. In 2015, and 13 are in town. In 2015, when they created the Route 1 zoning bylaws, they did away with our used car lots on Route 1, but you have 9 that are grandfathered in, and the 13 we have 13 in town now, and they would be grandfathered in if this passes. So that's all this does. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Any further? I do have, by the way, I mentioned it earlier in the evening, but the planning board did meet on this article, and they recommended 4-0 in favor of passage. Ms. Panetta.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Deborah Panetta. I live at 1 Bellevue Street. This article was created due to the number of car dealerships that we have in Saugus. As Selectman Serino said, we have 9 on Route 1 alone, and you, town meeting, voted on no more, just the 9. Now we're asking you, there are 13 that are within Saugus, within our neighborhoods, 5 on Hamilton Street alone. And we get a lot of pushback because when these come before the Board of Selectmen, the residents don't want a used car lot next to them. It creates a lot of inflow, a lot of congestion, and there's much concern. There's also an issue with trying to enforce. If we say we grant 3, condition on 3 used cars, sometimes there's 4, sometimes there's 5, sometimes there's 7. It's very difficult to enforce them. I don't think there's a public need for more than the 22 that we already have, and I do hope that you consider this article and vote in favor this evening. And as the town moderator said, it was voted on in favor by the planning board. Thank you very much. And the next article that comes up is just definitional. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Panetta. Any further discussion on Article 45? Okay, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of amending the zoning bylaws of the town of Saugus by adding the following under definitions 3.1 general motor vehicle sales class 2 license requirements and limits. A business that acquires and sells secondhand motor vehicles, MGL chapter 140. All vehicles for sale must be stored on site and require an S2 permit for the storage of the vehicles by the Board of Selectmen. Zoning Article 5, auto showrooms and lots. This zoning bylaw shall include any and all methods of sales, including online. There shall be a limit of 13 Class 2 licenses issued townwide. All in favor of that article as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Article 45 has passed. As a courtesy to the maker, Ms. Arsenault moves Article 46 for consideration, to see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaws of the town of Saugus by adding the following. Amend Article 3 definition, Section 3.1 general, by adding the following new definition under 3.1, auto showrooms and lots. Auto showrooms and lots shall mean the use of any building, land area, or other premises for the storage, display, and sale of new and/or used motor vehicles. Do I have a second on Article 46? I do have a recommendation from the planning board. They reviewed Article 46 and voted 4-0 in favor of passage. Do we have moved and seconded discussion on Article 46? Mr. Serino? What's that? Well, we have somebody at the podium at the moment, and then, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Moderator, town meeting members, ladies and gentlemen, that's all this does is give a definition of where the storage of the autos are going to be. They're allowed now in the B1, B2 district, I1 and I2, and it just clarifies the meaning. It's in the chart on Article 5. It's in our table of chart, but there's no meaning to it in Article 3 of the zoning bylaws. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. And we have a motion to move the question. Second, all in favor? All right, all in favor of Article 46 as presented to amend the zoning bylaws and add under Article 3 definition, Section 3.1, general auto showrooms and lots, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Article 46 has passed. Hey, one quick note, because a couple of people had asked me about the committee that we were forming for vacant schools, and I know we have two other committees we were talking about this evening that came out of articles. Just so everyone understands how that works, I'll be sending something out to all the town meeting members next week, and you can respond to that and let me know what you're interested in. Anything we pass at town meeting doesn't actually take effect until 10 days after the close of town meeting. All right, once we adjourn town meeting for the session, 10 days later, all of the articles we passed go into effect. And the reason for that is that a group of citizens could get together, petition the Board of Selectmen to take any matter out of our hands and put it on the ballot and bring it to the public to vote. So it wouldn't be until like probably second week in June, the 10 days after we close out, that those committees actually exist, and then I'll be appointing them. But I will reach out to everybody in the meantime. So if there's any one of those you're interested in being on, just shoot me back a message, or my phone number's in there, shoot me a text, and we'll get everybody lined up. All right? With that, I would entertain a motion to suspend the meeting until June 1st, which we're not going to be meeting next week. I hope everybody has an enjoyable Memorial Day weekend, and we'll come back the following week and hopefully put the rest of this stuff to bed. So we have a motion to... I'll tell you what, we're going to change that to... because I'm hearing now that we may not be ready for June 1st, and if that's the case, then we'll bring you back as soon as we are ready, which would be, I'm sure, the next week, probably at the latest. But we'll adjourn to the call of the moderator, which means you'll be getting an email from me plan on possibly coming back on June 1st, but if not, we'll be coming back hopefully on the 8th and wrapping things up at that time, all right? Once I have more information. All right? In any case, have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you guys soon.
No, they have to second and then adjourn.
Oh, yeah, we have a second, I'm sorry. Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Favor? Thank you.
Is anybody opposed? I didn't think so. All right.